Hello, my name is Dodie. Um, yes, I started the Master Beekeeper program when it first started, so I'm a big fan. I went through the all the way up to Master as I could, just year after year, and got to the Master level and thought, oh, I don't think I can do Master Craftsman. I was pretty busy, full-time job, 2 kids, all that good stuff, and they wanted you to kind of contribute to the overall knowledge, and I couldn't fit going to A&M and finding a project and working with a grad student and all that into my current schedule. So I kind of blew it off. But then we got Dr. Slater and all of this new crew, and they've opened it up to a whole lot of other ways to make this leap into the final level. So when y'all get there, it'll be easier for you guys. As I've found out, it's not that difficult. It's not that hard. So you can all do it too. So y'all go through the program and get up here with me. So, yeah, it's a citizen science project that I'm working on. So what I did was I used a drone to find drones. So it's going to be maybe a little confusing. So y'all just have to put on your thinking cap and know that I'm talking about this drone when I'm talking about this drone. I'll try. I'll try to keep them so that you understand which is which. All right, so here we go. Honeybees and DCAs. So the purpose of this project was actually to locate and try to understand what makes a DCA, right? Learning about those and then adding to a big citizen science database of where all of these drone congregation areas are might help us find more drone congregation areas. So that's the big ticket that I'm going for. Honeybees fly and mate in the air. They don't do it anywhere else but while they're flying. Okay. DCAs are known to be in the same location year after year. So that's crazy. What blows my mind about that is that if the drones mate and get lucky, the story, right? They don't go back home. If at the end of the season they haven't mated and they're still at the house, all the workers kick them out. So there is a time when there is nobody in the colony, no drones in the colony. And then next year we have boys again. And how do they know where to go? But they do. They know where to go. There is a drone congregation area in Sheffield, England that's been there, and I want to get the exact date. It's that, let me see. What's the date? Where's the note? 1722, Sheffield, England. 1722. That long drones have been coming back to the same spot. That just blows my mind. All right. So anyway, DCAs are crucial for mating, enhance genetic diversity, all kinds of good stuff. But being able to find them is the big ticket thing. Think about, so the reason why it's important is because all of our research people who are doing studies and the first step in their study is to go find a DCA. If they could just pull open a map and go, oh, here's one, and just go there, we've saved them hours, days, weeks, however long it would take them to find a DCA. So basically, from a scientific standpoint, I'm helping every researcher that's studying anything about mating biology, drones, how well they're mated or anything like that. I'm helping them hopefully in the future. So all of those good reasons to help advance this study. The next one would be to improve Texas breeding stock. So if you are breeding queens and let me click it, that there's managed colonies around here, then you should have some DCAs. If there aren't any managed colonies and you have a bunch of DCAs, then those are feral and not managed drones that your queens are mating with. So maybe you don't want to put your mating area here, right? And if you know where all the DCAs are, you could strategically locate your mating nukes where you flood the DCA area with your genetics. You put your drones there, right? So if you know both sides of where your queens are getting mated from, you're going to enhance your bee stock. And along those same lines, that could help us tamp down the Africanized gene that we have. We have tamped it down a whole lot. A lot of the Africanized gene is out there, but it's been diluted a whole lot. But our queen breeders are still suffering from some bad media publicity from killer bees, So anything that we can do to help breed that out will be better. So for this project, mapping more DCAs would be able to give us the clues we need, the cues for where to find them. Like if there are, like a lot of the cues say, in a field along a tree line, right? Or at a cliff, they like to go downhill. But so understand, if we can find a whole bunch of them and find out what they all have in common, then that'll help us find more, right? So learning where they are to help us find more areas, attract more drones, and to understand why does this area, what's special about this place as opposed to any of the others that makes it attract more drones. And then finally, if we put all these cues together, we might be able to find even more areas. So what happened was Julia Mayhood did her Master Craftsman project on this, and she created this great citizen science database. So you could go to Map My DCA and find this big giant map and all the pins. Like when we first started this project, Texas was empty. But look at, it's a whole world Google map. And then they keep adding more things that you can do to the Google Maps. So eventually we'll be able to drill down and get really specific information about them all. But my presentation, my goal is to add more to Texas. And you can see when I first started, it was empty. So what we do know about DCAs right now are that they are discrete areas. You can actually take a step and not be in it and know that you are not in it, just that far. So they are very specific areas. Drones like to go downhill. Who doesn't? They like depressions. So maybe it's the updraft, but they seem to find them where the landscape changes like that. Visual cues, like I said, rivers, tree lines, maybe creeks, windbreaks. You got to think they're up here just twirling in as much relief as they can have out of the wind. They take it. There is a little bit of there's a small study about maybe there's some magnetic anomaly going on here. Honeybees have I think it's iron in them, and so they're thinking maybe, like those fast trains kind of float. Maybe there's a little bit of that going on. And still, knowing all of this, they're still mysterious. So that's my drone, and I don't know if yes, I don't know if you can see some of the bees around there, but there you go. So what we do know again about drones is that they are filled with both queen and drone mandibular pheromone. So it's a stinky little space in the sky. The literature says that the drones are out there between 1 and 5. In real life, I have found it's to be, or maybe it's just in Central Texas, I've found that it's later in the afternoon for me, from 4 to 7. I had the best luck at around 6. We do know that drones visit DCAs, several DCAs in a day. The older the drones are, the more often they will switch locations. Like the brand new young ones just stay at the closest one to the house. But then as they get older, they realize, I haven't had any luck here. I'm going to try the next bar over. And and then they might hit another and then come home. That's a great question. We don't know. Every study that I read, the second line was still not much is known about DCAs. You know, every study said that over and over again. We just don't know a whole lot about DCAs yet, and where they form and where we can find them and all that good stuff. I'll show you where mine are that I found. Drones in general have about 30 minutes of flight time, and then they run out of honey. They run out of energy. They got to get back home and slurp up some more, and then they can head out again. If all the conditions are still favorable, they'll take more than one flight. And again, still knowing all that, not a whole lot is known about DCAs. There's my first flight in Round Rock. Look, that one you can see a bunch of them. And that it wasn't my first flight. It was the first DCA I found. My first flight was just sweating, me walking back and forth and flying. It was good practice for me to learn how to fly my drone. Yeah.
How high is it? 40, 50 feet?
I'll talk about that in a minute. So, my first couple of flights were just back and forth in my field because I'll tell you in a second where I thought I would find them. I thought I would find them where historically they have been found. So historically, they use a big long stick with a queen on it, right? And walking around and watching and seeing what they can find, and then suddenly the queen will be surrounded by drones when they get into a drone congregation area. Um, More advanced than that, they were using helium balloons. Y'all know helium is it's a finite gas. We don't have a whole lot thanks to Party City, but that balloon costs $50 to blow up now. So that's kind of out of price range for most people. But Julia bought one and blew it up with the helium and went out and looked where she thought she would find one, and she didn't find any. Um, and she thought, well, okay, well, I'll go out again tomorrow. She got up the next morning and her balloon was flat, or, no more juice in it. She's like, I can't believe. So it's pretty expensive. And then here's another graduate student who used the helium balloon and a net. So he was actually catching drones in DCAs to work on his project. So that's how they've done it historically. We found out though that it is kind of cost prohibitive to always have a virgin queen available to you. That's not always an option. And helium is expensive. Also, you have limited access. You can only go where that stick or the balloon on the string can go. So you're just mainly in an open area, right? You're not over treetops, you're not over tall obstacles, you're not over water. So those are places that they haven't ever looked really for DCAs. So here's me. I am using a drone, and they are now called Small Unmanned Aerial Systems. So SUASs. This is from the FFA rules as of September 1. SUASs. And I'm using that to find a drone. So once we got these small unmanned aerial things, these little babies, once they entered the hobbyist market, because we've had them for a while, but they've been really expensive. So now that you can get one for a couple $100 that has a really good camera on it, and that you can plug your phone into and watch at the same time, that's a really important thing. You've got to be able to see what the drone sees in real time. A lot of the less expensive ones will videotape it, and then you take it home and then download it and watch it then. So that won't work. So when you're getting a drone, you got to make sure you can see what it sees as it's seeing it. But as that entered the hobbyist market, it opened up everybody's ability to do this type of research now. So to use one of these little small unmanned aerial system, you do have to follow all the FFA rules and also state specific rules. It has to be a small size. If it's a bigger size, you have to get a bigger license, a pilot's license, right? It's a little bit harder to get that one. For the hobbyist or recreational or research uses, I can use this trust license, and there's mine, got my name on it, I'm official. It's not a hard test. It's like 30 minutes. It's online. It doesn't cost anything. So don't let thinking you have to do a test stop you. The FFA does require remote ID on most drones. My drone is pre-remote ID, so it doesn't have one on it. The newer ones that they're making now already come with one, so that's why I don't have one. I still do have to fly below 400 feet. I have to stay within line of sight or be able to point to where it is. You know, I can barely see anything. But also, I have to be away from people. You'll see I found a drone congregation area close to a baseball field. I can't fly there when we have a baseball game going on. Also, you got to know that there is limited access, especially around hospitals, where helicopters are coming in. That was a big I ran into that. And my drone is pretty cool because when I first turn it on, it'll tell me if I can fly or not. It'll say ready to fly or that I can't fly here, that I'm in a restricted area. But near critical infrastructure, and I'm sure they're talking about hospitals there mostly. Correctional facilities, they don't want you looking in on that, and private property. I've also had issues with private property. So here's how to create your lure, and this is my little lure thing right here. So I have a baby refrigerator here. This is a wine cooler, a thing that I froze, so I have ice here, and then it's in this really good insulated cup because the QMP is supposed to last longer if you keep it in the freezer. Yeah, so keep it cool while you're not using it. All right, so let's go. Creating your lure. QMP, purchase it at a bee supply store. You're looking for Temp Queen. Temp Queen is the thing to Google search. You're going to need a length of paracord, so heavier string first. Hang on, we'll get to that. I know, it's a great question. Cotton thread is the next thing we need. So, see, that's me laying down on the bottom of the ground. What you're going to do, because everybody's drone is different, and to find out how long you need to make these threads is that you need to fly up until you no longer feel the propeller wash. All right. So that's your first length, or that's your total length of, because you don't want to wash away. You don't want to have this, you want it to be here, right here. You don't want the propeller wings to dissipate your smell from your pheromones from your, yeah. So, and this cotton thread, a little bit of cotton thread here, in case you get your drone, your lure hooked on something, you still want to be able to pull away and have this be stuck, and but save your drone because you can replace this, right? And you want to have your paracord up here by your propellers, because as you're landing, it's best to land at an angle, because this string back here, if it gets tangled up in your propellers, makes a mess. All right, so this is heavier enough that it won't get tangled in your propellers. So a length of paracord, and think about a color that'll show up really good against the sky. So black would work good. I thought neon yellow would work good too against the blue sky. All right. So, and then the other thing is, depending on your drone, you might need to buy a drop kit, but I was able to get a rubber band. I'm a cheap, lazy beekeeper, so if I could do something on the cheap, a rubber band holder fits onto my drone body, scoots back out of the way far enough that it doesn't interfere with my camera or anything, and then I can hang it from there. So paracord and thread should be that long. So how far down? Mine's about 5 feet of each. It's about 5 feet of this, and I've had to retie this a couple times, and I'll retie it again. And do check how strong your thread is before you fly every time, because I didn't realize how much wear and tear was happening on my cotton thread, and almost lost my lure accidentally. So test your thread. All right. So use Google Earth. It's a free downloadable program. And what you can do is go into the terrain settings and exaggerate the terrain to 275, and that'll show you peaks and valleys. And that will help you find a visual cue for a place that you might try to fly. Um, search for ideal candidate locations. And also, so I fell into this really heavy. If you can, though, use some waypoint, use a mapping tool to map your drone to fly in a specific pattern. That way, you're not biasing where you're flying. You know, there's no bias for, oh, I know they're in open fields, so I'm just going to look in this open field. They're really, now we're finding they're not all in open fields. So if you can just look everywhere in an area and then scoot over here and look everywhere in an area, and if you can set up your drone so that it will fly this pattern and you don't have to worry about flying the pattern, you can just sit here and watch what's happening and look for the drones, then that would be a whole lot easier. Um, mine is old and doesn't work with waypoint software anyway. But if you had that option, if you're going to go out and buy one, that's a great option to invest in. So Google Earth, here's the first DCA that I found, and here's my apiary. Ready for the arrows? There's me. I pull in right here. There's my worn out. I used to come this way. There's my road in the dirt, and that's my apiary. And the first DCA that I found up here. It's probably, it might not be a whole mile. It might be 3/4. But I spent 3 different flights, 3 different days, and this happens, you know, like I said, 6 o'clock is the best time, and I started at 3 and 4 and 5 trying to figure out where's the best time. In July, it's hot, and I was getting very frustrated. Well, the first 4 times I was flying in my field, I came right down to here, and I did this one, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then I started doing this, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then I did this one again, and I did this one again. It's like, okay, there's none here, and my husband this whole time, was pretty much convinced that they were all teasing me, that this is not a real thing, and here I am out here flying, and I'm not finding any bugs. And I'm getting all depressed. He's like, "What?" I'm like, "It's not." He goes, "Well, I didn't. There isn't any. Well, I don't know what you're doing this for." Like, there is. Come on, we're gonna go one more time. And I knew there's a church here, so public property. So we pulled into this church parking lot right here, and I started flying back this way. And I went along the tree line first, and good thing because I started seeing more bugs. I was like, "Oh, look," but it was just 1 or 2. You know, it wasn't anything major till I got all the way up to there, and then boom, I was like, "Oh, look, bugs! Bugs! I see bugs!" I was so excited. And still, every time I fly, I'm nervous about flying to begin with, and then I'm excited if I see bugs. So it's a yes. The DCA is above the tree line for me. Yes. So here's my apiary, my home apiary, and I know that there's another beekeeper right here. She's got like 6 colonies, not very many. I've got 15 in my little parking lot space, and she's got 6 or 7 more here. There was the first one I found, and then, like I said, I went up the road to the Dell Diamond because there's a big parking lot here, and then this is a whole big park, and all of this is all park area. It's under construction though, so they only let us go to that parking lot right there, I think. I think it's that, no, maybe it's that parking lot. They don't let us go up into this one anymore. But it's got soccer fields and baseball fields. So a bunch of open spaces because I'm still thinking open spaces is what I need, right? So we got, whoops, go back. I got out of the car, we parked right there, and I was like, well, I'm just going to go right along the edge here. And I thought I'd go along the edge on both sides. And as I was zooming across, I just ran into a gob of, oh, look. And so I got more excited about finding these because now I'd found 2 pretty easily. After sweating it out for a week and not finding anything, I was pretty pretty sad. But then I found this one, and then I thought, well, let's go up here by the lake. Maybe there'll be something around the lake. And so they only let us park here. So I was kind of flying blind a little bit, but that's when I found that one. And the whole time I was doing this, I had sent an email with kind of this picture here to Dr. Slater to say, "Where do you think I should fly?" And he's like, "Oh, open areas. Get right across the street from your apiary. Look at all that open space. There's going to be one there." Again, we're still thinking, open space. So this is a park or a green belt, and it's Brushy Creek is right here. There's a Play for All park here. So we parked at the park. And from here to here through this trail is 3 miles. And I did this early on, but I was down here and I lost where my drone was. I couldn't I mean I could see it, but I couldn't see it with my eyeballs. I could see it on my on my flight thing. And I was like, and the battery was going dead. So it's like, I gotta land it. I gotta land it. I gotta, and because it's just about to land on its own. And when it lands on its own, it goes back to home. And that home point was 3 miles back that way. So I learned how to reset my home point. I learned how to keep it more within visual sight. I got a little bit better at landing. I improved myself, my flight, my piloting ability a whole bunch. But then the next day we went out again and started halfway, and that's when I found one behind Kalahari. So I found these 4 right around my house. Pretty cool. So once you find your DCAs, you need to take some really good high resolution video. Take some still photos. Oh, when you're taking your video, tilt your camera up because I just am looking down all the time at the bugs. Tilt your camera up and go in a big circle so that you can kind of figure out where to pin your place on the map, right? It helps if you know, oh, okay, I'm in between these things. I'm probably right here, right? Take your still camera, turn your settings on, your GPS location services on so that you get all of that data. It'll give you stuff, more stuff about where your picture is coming from. So take sufficient video to pinpoint your location. And then you're going to have to do a confirmation flight to make sure that you're not just flying in a fly zone, because DCAs, we know they're in the same place over and over and over again. So you got to pick another day and go out there and to that same place and check and see if it's really a DCA. So confirmation flights. Then go to YouTube and make a YouTube account and upload your videos. So then the next step is to go to Map My DCA and create an account there and add your DCAs to the map. So now Texas has 8. Yay! I did a bunch around the Austin area. I got to go up to Abilene. That's Abilene over here, and found a couple in Abilene when I was there visiting a friend. And I went up here and stayed with Barbie, and we went drone hunting and found some there. So, yay, we've got 8 now. So Julia's overall results, she texted me and said, "Okay, I'm gonna go present at Apomodia. And I know that you have some on the map, and I know you have some other ones," because every time I would find drones, I'd send her video. Look, and she'd be, yeah, cheerleader in the back end. So she goes, "I know you have some that you haven't actually added to the map yet, and I'd like to present a poster. And if I could have more of your dots on there, it'll make Texas look better." So add the dots, even though you haven't confirmed them yet. We'll confirm them later. It's like, yeah, okay. So we put all the dots on there for her. And she took all the information that she had collected up to that point and did a little bit of you know, data management on it. And we did find out the biggest thing that we found out was that even though all of the statistics say and all of the documents and all of the research says that you find drone congregation areas over in open fields, along windbreaks or along tree lines, we found 47% were actually over treetops, over canopies. So once you can look there, you find them there. How about that? Actually, 54% of the DCAs were found over tree canopy. So just showing there's tree canopy mostly is where you find them, and then open areas, and then other places. And this is finding them with a DCA, and this is finding them with a drone on a stick or a queen on a stick or whatever. So the more tools we have for finding them, the more places we can look for them, the more places we are finding them. Yay! So there's all of my drone flights. This was the Abilene flight. There's Oceana, our honey queen. There's Michelle. She's on the Master Beekeeper board. Our first Master Beekeeper, Michelle Borst. This is Georgia, and this is Susan, and this is Tiffany, and that's me. And these are all the presentations that I've given. And the ones that say with workshops, we actually got a bunch of people out and we flew and looked for drones in those areas. So I've shown a bunch of people how to do this, and hopefully made a couple of people more excited about trying to do this. There's all of our fun times. There's our drone hunters. I should make a patch, drone hunter, and all the presentations I've given about it. And I'm going to leave you all with the oldest drone song I could find. It's Steppenwolf, Born to Be Wild. So if you look at those lyrics, you'll see that that is definitely a song about drones. Right? My other presentation is full of songs. So this one is not so exciting, sorry, but that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. Yay! Thank you. Yes. Is it too late in the year now to fly for drones? Absolutely. And the later I flew, I could still find that there was a DCA, but it wasn't as crowded as the one I found in June. And I even started this in June, so I'm excited to fly next year in April and May, when I think they should be even more crowded, right? Hang on. Yes, ma'am. So the weather conditions, what sort of weather conditions was I worried about? Weather conditions really mattered a whole lot with whether or not I was comfortable flying this or not. I figured if I was comfortable flying this, that drones would be comfortable flying also. So if it was too windy to fly this, I didn't go out. You know, nice, just what all the research says, nice sunny day. The days that you look for your queen to have while she's out there breeding, you know, you want it to be not a windy day, because that influences everything. So yeah, I was looking for, we didn't go out if it was rainy. We also didn't go out to the baseball field if there was a baseball game going on, right? So I took a lot of things into consideration, where we could fly and where we could look. Yeah. So what did I find out about how close they are located, where they're located, and the number of does the number of colonies have anything to do with that? I'm sure it would, but like I said, my second sentence on every piece of research that said anything about DCAs was, not enough is known about DCAs. So even that is, but I mean, you would assume if there are known colonies around, they are going to go somewhere and mate. So there's a DCA somewhere within a mile of this group of beehives. And if you find one, but you know there's no managed colonies, then you know there's feral ones. So yeah, that's where they are. So you had a question earlier.
Yes, two things. One, it seems like you were flying about 60 feet high, right?
I was at, how high was I flying?
So the
I
tree
was
canopy is about 40 feet.
right. I was flying. I knew that this was about 20 feet, or that was what made it easy for me to guess. And I flew at 100. So my drone was at 100. So this was at 80. But you saw on that one video that I had lots of bees up here. Lots of them come up and check out the drone. And it's sad, but I have to clean it off every time I find a good DCA, because they get up there and they get hit, and I can see it on the camera. That one didn't make it. And he didn't even find a queen, he found a drone.
They have
So
about 60 to 80 feet above.
yes, but and I would go up higher and down. I mean, I I went all over the place looking, but my drone flew normally between 80 and 120 feet. But then I had my lure underneath that.
I'm gonna do experiment because for what I've seen, I've been experimenting with Virgin Queens in November and December,
Hmm.
and what I find out is our colonies don't have any drones,
Yeah.
but Africanized colonies do have them.
Huh?
So I have had Virgin Queens in December,
Oh, and they're
expecting for the colony to collapse in
mm,
January, and they were booming. And I
yeah.
said, okay, it's gonna be drone brood. It was not drone brood.
Oh,
But
because
in
they're
March,
mating with
they were
Africanized.
impossible. They were, you have to kill them or split them because they were hot.
Yeah.
So if we do this right now, I can actually find out if there's some segregation for Africanized bees.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that.
Very good. Very good connection to use and go forward. Yes.
What can we do with this information?
Well, at the beginning, I said these are the reasons why I want to do this. So, and a whole lot of it is this project was to help other researchers. So I'm giving them the head start on finding DCAs. If their research has anything to do with queen breeding, how well did she mate? How many times did she mate? Can we find that out? How many drones did she mate with? You know, any of those questions where the first thing you need to find is a DCA. If I can get a map of, and like Dr. Rangel has already asked me to come out to A&M and see if I can map them around her area. So, and that would directly help her research students. So I'm definitely going to do that. So that's what I'm there for. But you know, the whole, if you're a queen breeder and you want to know where to set up your colonies, and this, you want to stay away from your Africanized bees.
Actually work to set up your drone factory. Because I use
Yeah,
drone factory.
yeah,
So if
where
I find that thing, I'm gonna put 2 or 3 drone factories a quarter of a mile. So I know my drones are gonna swamp that thing. And it's gonna be
absolutely
a lot more than whatever it is around.
right. And I don't know if I repeated the question or not. Can I don't, he asked me
What can we do with this?
he asked me what we could do with the information. Yes, ma'am.
Here, if there's any correlation between domestic hives and Africanized DCAs, then this could give us information as to where the Africanized DCAs are.
Exactly.
And change the genetics.
Where yeah, exactly. That's the other big thing. Then the third bullet down was if I can find DCAs and we know that they are drone congregation areas, then we can flood that with more the better genetics that we want to be there. Absolutely. Time or question? Uh-huh.
Um, yes, how do we get our own DCAs now? Because this is
You don't even have to purchase it. You can go to Map My DCAs and you can create an account and log all of your DCAs there. So it is everybody that finds one. And, you know, take the time to make a good video so that you can post the video so that the researchers or whoever is looking for it can look and watch your video to find out if that's a DCA that they want to go to or not.
yeah, that's what I think.
Do I want to? Does she want to pay me to do it? I'm I'm sure there would be because I have been asked to do it a lot. And if I take money for it, I have to have a better, more expensive license, and I'd want to, you know, a drone that actually has the RFI, the radio ID thing on it because I'm floating on the edge of illegal, but I'm also only doing it for research. So I think I'm going to be, you know, if I get hauled off to FFA jail, I'll call Garrett to bail me out. Yeah, y'all will bail me out. Any other questions? Yeah.
So, when you do the presentation for us, about that,
Uh-huh.
you talked about the type of the things typically
Yes.
and the typically in the shop.
So when I do the presentation for clubs, I lead into this with more information about mating and drones and queens and all that good stuff. So what she's talking about is at the very beginning of that presentation, or what she was asking is um, at the beginning of that presentation, I talk about how they don't inbreed with each other. So I give a little bit of that. The cool thing is they don't mate in the hive because they don't mate standing next to each other. They mate flying. And then the next inbreeding thing is that the drones, when they take off, they fly high, and the queens, like all girls, fly low because they're looking for food on the ground, probably flowering food here. So they're flying at different altitudes, and the drones stay close to home. The queens go out a mile before they even think about stopping. This drone congregation area is full of boys. They have that lovely smell of Axe or Irish Spring or Old Spice, whatever that's, the drone mandibular pheromone. And it's just a tunnel of smell. And if they get lucky, they fall, but that smell is going from this way up. So this is just a tunnel of smell here. And if you have your queens, they're smelly too, right? So as our queen's flying out, she's like, okay, I'm ready to find a DCA. It's a whole lot about pheromones out there. She's flying around and oh, that smells good, and she goes up and finds her DCAs, right? So that was some of the background stuff I do when I do the club presentations. I work into this. This one was more of this project, how to do it and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of background stuff that goes into it. Yes, sir.
Did notice that on one of we have the picture of the drone, some of the drones have 2 or 3 markings.
Oh yeah, there was a science project. So the professor was mapping, these drones came out of colony A, so they get a red dot. And we found them at this DCA, so they get a blue dot. So your drones have a dot on their thorax and a dot on their tail.
Went on the ground looking for dead drones?
I don't remember if he looked for dead drones or if they actually caught them in the flight. Because they could have caught them in flight at this DCA.
Dr. Slade. So if drones fly 20 kilometers per hour and the flight is only 15 minutes before they need to stop and then come back to each other. So they can actually, at full speed, they can reach 5 miles away. So I see her, this is the apiary, and within a mile there was a drone congregation. So is it safe to say that this queen flew to this congregation and this queen flew to this congregation, which will make it over 2 miles. But for the drones, it's only a mile.
Yeah.
So they don't get tired and they can have the energy to fly around. Because they will get tired pretty easy.
Yes.
When you're doing,
yeah.
No, it's because of the physiology of the drone. Because when we're doing the insemination, the drones will last 3 hours. They start dying off, even right there.
Yeah, not using any energy at all.
Not using any energy. In an hour, they're already starting to die off and get tired.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yes. Drones are the most precious thing we have in the colony. They just very gentle. They can't withstand a hard, somebody's got to feed them. They can't even bust out of their own cells by themselves. The workers they're very, very delicate. Yes. Very delicate babies to have as much work as they have.
So that is safe to say that, because one of the mysteries is, how do the workers tell the queens where the DCAs are? So when the virgin queen,
I think she just flies out until she smells,
like following and smelling another apiary.
Yeah.
But she knows within that apiary, within a mile, there is a drone congregation. I think that's pretty cool. Thank you.
We have time for one more question.
One more question.
I was going to ask, how much trial and error did you have with the word?
Yes. So how much trial and error did I have? So it took me a long time to find my first one. but then I found them pretty fast, pretty easily after that. And then the trial and error with the string was, I give a lot of credit to Julia, who said, use the thread first, and then, but I did get the thread wrapped up in the propellers because I learned that way by my mistakes. So I keep that longer than you think you need it. It's too short now, but um, it was it was a lot of trial and error. And then I realized I was only videotaping when I had success. So I've got another videotape of here's me walking along Olive Brushy Creek and not finding anything. So that did happen too. I've gone out lots and not found anything. Most of that list of drone flights they were successful flights. So all right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.